Good morning, my dear students. I welcome to all of you to this session of fluid mechanics. Dear students, this is my lecture number 2, Introduction to Fluid Mechanics Part 2. So we are discussing Module 1. So I am Dhiraj Mondol, Assistant Professor, JIS College of Engineering, Mechanical Engineering Department, Kollani, West Bengal. So you know that last class we have discussed some introduction part. What is fluid? What is the definition of fluid? What is fluid mechanics? What are the different types of study like fluid static, fluid kinematic, fluid dynamics, and also we have discussed some properties of the fluid like density, specific weight or weight density, specific volume also discussed. What is specific volume? Specific volume is the volume of the fluid by mass of the fluid. That is your 1 by rho, or reciprocal of density is called specific volume. The unit is your meter cube per kg. We have discussed the specific gravity. What is specific gravity? That is your weight density of liquid by weight density of water, or in case of gas, weight density of gas by weight density of air. And some numerical also discuss these two numerical. I hope you have solved this problem, and whatever the discussion it is done, you have to submit to me as an assignment. Okay, viscosity part was discussed, and the unit of viscosity. Also I have discussed kinematic viscosity, Newton's law of viscosity. Today we will be discussing about the variation of viscosity with temperature, and surface tension, bulk modulus, and related things will be discussed. So let us start. So what is the variation of viscosity with temperature? So the variation of viscosity with temperature, I can say that the viscosity with respect to temperature, the temperature affects the viscosity. In case of liquid, if we increase the temperature of a liquid, then viscosity will be in decreasing order. But if in case of gas, if I increase the temperature, then it will be seen that the viscosity is increased. Why these two? That means in case of liquid the viscosity is in decreasing, but as we increase the temperature. But in case of gas, we can see that the viscosity of the gas increasing when the temperature is increases. Okay, so the basic reason is that the molecular momentum transfer and the cohesive force. In case of water or liquid, the molecular momentum transfer, okay, so the cohesive force basically predominates the molecular momentum transfer in case of liquid. But in case of gas, due to the molecular momentum transfer, the viscosity is increasing. How we can describe it? See, in the water molecules are closely packed to each other. That means there is not any kind of gap between two molecules. Okay, and we will see that because of the cohesive force, that means one or two molecule, it is two molecules, it is coming together and attracted to each other, and that because of that cohesive force, what happened, the bonding of the water particle is more. But in case of gas, we will see that the gases, in case of gas, the molecules of the gas, it is randomly moving here and there. So if I increase the temperature of the gas, we will be seeing that the pressure when the temperature is increased, then we will be seeing that the randomness or entropy, you can see the entropy is increased, or degrees of disorderness is increased. And because of that randomness, one molecule is colliding over another adjacent molecule, so that the temperature is increasing. And as we can see, that means the temperature is increasing, means randomness is increasing, and as a result we can say that between two molecules there must be some friction. So because of that friction, that we can say that the viscosity is increasing. But in case of liquid, if I increase the temperature, the molecular bond, the bond between two molecules in case of liquid or water, it is breaking down, and the particular liquid is moving smoothly without any kind of resistance. Okay, so here it is written that in liquid the cohesive force predominates the molecular momentum transfer due to closely packed molecule, and with the increase in temperature the cohesive force decreases with the result of decreasing viscosity. Okay, so this is the main reason. But in case of gas, what happened? In case of gas, the cohesive forces are small and molecular momentum transfer predominates. Okay, with the increase of in temperature molecular momentum transfer increases and hence viscosity increases. And there is some basic relationship we can establish, that for liquid mu is equal to mu naught into 1 by 1 plus alpha t plus beta t square, where mu is equal to viscosity of the liquid at T degree centigrade in poise, mu naught is equal to viscosity of the liquid at 0 degree centigrade in poise, alpha and beta is constant, and the value of mu naught and alpha and beta is given. So by the help of this formula we can easily find out what is the viscosity of a particular liquid at a temperature. But in case of gas you can see, but in case of liquid you can see it is inversely proportional to the temperature. And in case of gas you can see mu is equal to mu naught plus alpha t minus beta t square. So easily you can see that it is proportional to the temperature. As we increase the temperature, the viscosity is also increasing order in case of gases. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now types of fluid. What are the different types of fluid? Let us discuss. So there are mainly 5 types of fluid: ideal fluid, real fluid, Newtonian fluid, non-Newtonian fluid, and ideal plastic fluid. Okay, so what is ideal fluid? So in the graph you can see the shear stress and velocity gradient. Graph between shear stress and velocity gradient is shown here. So ideal fluid is basically a fluid which is incompressible and there is not any kind of viscosity. That fluid is known as ideal fluid. Real fluid. What is real fluid? In case of ideal fluid, we can say that there is not any kind of viscosity. So basically it is an imaginary fluid, it is not existing. Okay, but in case of real fluid, a fluid which possesses the viscosity is known as real fluid. All the fluid in actual practice are real fluid. Okay, so I can say that if there is some any kind of viscosity inside the fluid, then I can say it is a real fluid. Now the real fluid which is which basically which following or which is obeying the Newton's law of viscosity is called a Newtonian fluid. Real fluid is in which shear stress is proportional to the rate of shear strain or velocity gradient, and that is the Newton's law of viscosity. So this is why it is called Newtonian fluid. Now a real fluid in which the shear stress is not proportional to the shear strain, rate of shear strain or the velocity gradient, is known as non-Newtonian fluid. Okay, so I hope it is clear what is Newtonian fluid, what is non-Newtonian fluid. Now what do you mean by ideal plastic fluid? In the graph it is seen that ideal plastic fluid, this graph. So ideal plastic fluid is a fluid in which shear stress is more than the yield value and shear stress is proportional to yield value and shear stress is proportional to the shear strain. That means when you are applying some force on this particular fluid like ideal plastic fluid, suddenly it will, that means initially after applying some force it will not move forward. So if you are applying some force up to some extent, then after exceeding this yield value or after qualifying this yield value, the fluid is allowed to move. Okay, so that is why we can say it is your ideal plastic fluid. So sometime the example of pseudo like your toothpaste, initially it is not moving forward. If you are applying some force on it, then after that, after some applying some force, it is allowed to flow. Okay, that means it is it starts flowing. Okay, so I hope it is clear. Now let us solve a numerical. If the viscosity a velocity distribution over a plate is given by u is equal to 2 by 3 y minus y square, in which u is the velocity in meter per second at a distance y meter above the plate, determine the shear stress at y is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0.15. Take dynamic viscosity of the fluid as 8.63 poise. Okay, so this is the question. First of all, pause the video, try to solve it yourself, then see the solution. So let us solve the problem. So u is equal to given 2 by 3 y minus y square. So du by dy is what? 2 by 3 minus 2y square, 2y. So du by dy at y is equal to 0. So it is equal to 0.663667, and du by dy at y is equal to 1.15. It is equal to 2 by 3, 2 into 0.15. So it is equal to 0.6367. So ultimately this is the value at y is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0.15. Now the value of mu is given 8.63 poise. If you want to convert it in terms of Newton second per meter square, that is your SI unit, then simple divide with respect to by 10. So 0.863 is Newton second per meter square is the mu. Now the shear stress is given by the equation tau is equal to what? Mu into du by dy. So tau is equal to mu into dy by dy. Now put all the values. Shear stress at y is equal to 0. It is equal to 0.57556 Newton per meter square, and tau is equal to 1.5 at y is equal to 1.15. Tau is equal to, put the value of y here, 0.15. You will be getting 0.3167 Newton per meter square. So as y is increasing, we can see the shear stress is also in decreasing order, because in the floor or in the surface of the plate of a particular plate, uh, or the ground level, with the water particle in the plate, it will be, the shear stress will be more or velocity will be less. Okay, so by the help of this equation, this formula or this numerical, I hope it is clear. Now let us this 1.4, it is your homework, solve it yourself. 1.5 also your homework. Okay, so let us discuss the compressibility and bulk modulus. What do you mean by compressibility and bulk modulus? See, compressibility is basically the reciprocal of bulk modulus. Bulk modulus of elasticity. So bulk modulus of elasticity is denoted by K, and you have gone through in the strength of material subject. So what is bulk modulus? See, increase of pressure by volumetric strain. So in the piston, when some force is applied on the piston, so what we have seen, the force is applied on the piston, P amount of force is applied, F amount of force is applied. Now the piston is moving from here to here. So some distance is covered because of that F amount of force. Now what happened? The volume is gradually decreasing, so delta V amount of volume is decreasing. Let us consider the total volume is your V. So what is the change of volume? V minus delta V. Okay. Now the what do you mean by volumetric strain? It is basically nothing but the change in volume by total volume. So changing volume is your minus dV. Okay, initial minus final, final minus initial. So change in volume is your minus dV, and its volumetric strain is equal to change in volume by original volume. So original volume is your capital V. So negative sign, why it is taken? Because the volume is decreasing in decreasing order. Okay. So bulk modulus is equal to change of pressure delta P by volumetric efficiency, that is your del V by V. So minus dP by dV into V is the bulk modulus. Compressibility is equal to 1 by K. Compressibility is equal to 1 by K. Now compressibility and bulk modulus is reciprocal to each other, so we can say that compressibility is equal to V into delta V by minus delta P. Okay. Now let us discuss about the surface tension on liquid droplet. So what do we mean by surface tension? So the surface tension is defined as the tensile force acting on the surface of a liquid in contact with a gas or on the surface between two immiscible liquid, such that the contact surface behave like a membrane under tension. So the surface tension phenomena, you can see here, let us consider this is a liquid droplet. Okay, now it is some tensile force is acting on the surface of the liquid. It may be between two liquid or two immiscible liquid. Okay, and the surface of the liquid is behaving like a membrane under tension. Okay, so this is all about the surface tension. I hope it is clear. Now it is denoted by the Greek letter, that is your sigma. Okay, and what is the unit? Unit is the Newton per meter, because the surface energy per unit area. So surface energy per unit area means your if you want to put the value of the surface energy per unit area, then you will be seen that it is coming Newton per meter. Okay, because Newton meter by meter square, that is your Newton per meter. So ultimately this is all about the surface tension. So the surface, in when you have seen in the pond, the liquid droplet are there. When in the rainy season you will see the some liquid droplet are there, or when you are using some detergent powder to wash your cloth, then you will see that some bubble will be created. So that bubble, basically in the surface of that bubble, it is created because of the surface tension. Okay, and in the surface of the bubble we will see that some tensile force is acting. Sometime you will see some insect is walking on pond easily, because the weight of the insect is very less, and when as the water is having some surface tension, that is why the particular insect is not emerging inside the water, because of the surface tension. Because the in the surface of the liquid we will see the some surface tension. Okay, so some tensile force, because of that particular tensile force we will see that the particular insect is moving easily on the water. Okay, so now the surface tension on liquid droplet, how we can calculate? Let us consider the a sigma is the surface tension of liquid, P is the pressure intensity inside the droplet, and D is the dia of the droplet. Okay, now the tensile force due to surface tension acting around the circumference of a cut portion, you can see this is the figure. This is your droplet, and the surface in I am just cutting that some cross sectional area is taken. So I have bifurcated the liquid droplet by two equal parts. Now in the surface you can see here some sigma or surface tension, some tensile force is acting on the particular periphery of that or through the diameter of the spherical droplet. Okay, so what happened if it is acting some tensile force is acting on the periphery of the droplet rightward, then there must be some force which is acting in the leftward, so that the free body diagram can be drawn or the balance of the force balance can be maintained. So that is why I can say that some pressure force is acting on the surface of that particular uh, cart section. So we are considering some pressure force is acting on that particular liquid droplet which is acting leftward. So mathematically we can say that the tensile force due to surface tension is sigma into circumference. So circumference is equal to pi d, isn't it? So pi d into sigma is the tensile force due to surface tension. And same side by side I can calculate the what is the force acting because of the pressure. So pressure force on area pi by 4 d square. You know that pressure is the force per unit area. So per unit area is your pi by 4 d square, and P into pi by 4 d square is the pressure force. So mathematically these two equation will be equal. So P into pi by 4 d square is equal to pi into sigma into pi d. I hope it is clear. Now from the diagram I can say that P is equal to sigma into pi d by pi by 4 d square. So 4 sigma by d is the correct answer. This is the pressure. Okay, so pressure is equal to 4 sigma by pi d, or sigma is equal to Pd by 4 in case of liquid droplet. If I am taking the hollow bubble, so inside in case of hollow bubble there is two types of surface tension, in the upper portion of the surface of the particular bubble and in the lower portion of the particular bubble. So a hollow bubble, like a soap bubble in air, has two surface in contact. Okay, so inside and outside, two surface in contact, one side with air, and one side and out, that means inside and outside. Okay, one in inside and other outside, and the two surfaces are subjected to the surface tension, and the particular equation, all the equation should be same, only the as two surface tension are there, or two tensile force is acting on the surface of the bubble inside and outside, that is why it will be 2. So P into pi by 4 d square is equal to 2 into sigma into pi d. Okay, so P is equal to 8 sigma by d. This is the correct answer. So P is equal to 8 sigma by d, or sigma is equal to Pd by 8. So this is the surface tension on a hollow bubble. Next, come to the surface tension on a liquid jet. So surface tension on a liquid jet, this is a liquid jet you can say, and again I am taking some cross sectional, longitudinal cross sectional area. So what is the force due to pressure? P into area. So area is equal to what? L is the length and D is the diameter. So P into area is the that rectangular area is the force due to pressure. So P into A, that is your P into L into D. And force due to surface tension is what? We know that through the circumference the tensile force is acting. So P into 2L is the force due to surface tension. Now if I am equating these two equations, P into L into D is equal to sigma into 2L. So ultimately P is equal to 2 sigma by D. So P is equal to 2 sigma by D is the correct answer. This is the concept of surface tension. I hope it is clear. Now next part is it is your capillarity. Capillarity, it is also important, but it is in your syllabus it is not mentioned, but even as it is important, so that is why I am discussing again it again. Capillarity, basically it is defined as a phenomena of rise or fall of liquid surface in a small tube relative to the adjacent general level of liquid when the tube is held vertically in the liquid. So in the diagram, in the figure, you can see the in the particular liquid, if I am putting one tube, small tube like test tube, okay, so we will see that some height of the water is arising. Okay, so you have seen in the diagram the h is the height, which is you can rising here, and some angle theta is with respect to that particular tube, the some angle is theta is shown here, but and sigma is the tensile force. So tensile force is acting on the surface of the liquid, okay, so that this type of phenomena is occurring. So if it is your capillary rise, when the liquid surface is in increasing order, it is your capillary rise, but when the liquid surface is falling down, then it will be called capillary depression. Okay, so in case of capillary rise or depression, what happened, the H is equal to 4 sigma by rho z d, it is the equation. Because what, why we have taken, because you know that sigma is what, sigma is the surface tension of the liquid, and angle is, theta is the angle of contact between liquid and glass tube. Now the weight of the liquid of height H in the tube is equal to what, area of the tube into H into rho into g. So rho g into v, and v is equal to area into H. So this is the weight of the liquid, weight of the liquid of height up to the height. Okay, now the it is equal to what, the surface tension. So pi by 4 d square raised into rho into g is the weight of the liquid, which is rising. Now the vertical component of the surface tensile force is equal to what, sigma into circumference into cos theta. So sigma into pi d into cos theta is the vertical component of the surface tensile force. Now if I am equating these two equation, pi by 4 d square into rho h into rho into g is equal to pi into sigma into pi d into cos theta. So h is equal to 4 sigma by, so 4 sigma cos theta by rho g d. Okay, so this is the capillary rise. So ultimately cos theta, when it is 90 degree, then it is 0. So depending upon the theta, this h is changing. Okay, so for h is equal to 4 sigma by rho g d if the theta is the angle is equal to 0 degree, then it will be 1 na? Now in case of capillary depression, what happened, like mercury, so what happened, the depression means your, it is the surface tension is more, so angle is your near about 128 degree in case of mercury. So the surface, depending upon the angle, it is the height, it would be rise, capillary rise or capillary depression, that can be calculated. Now one more numerical, calculate the capillary rise in a glass tube of 2.5 mm diameter when immersed vertically in a water and mercury. The surface tension is given for water and surface tension for mercury also given. The specific gravity of the mercury is given 13.6 and the angle of contact is equal to 130 degree. So you have to calculate the capillary rise. So simple formula, d is the diameter of the tube given, surface tension sigma for water it is given, sigma for mercury it is given, specific gravity is also given. Now density, how we can calculate, 13.6 into 1000. Capillary rise for water, theta is equal to 0 degree. Okay, and the h is equal to 4 sigma by rho z d. Okay, so 4 sigma by rho z d, 4 sigma is also given, so I can find out 1.18 centimeter. Okay, for mercury it is equal to, theta is equal to 130 degree and h is equal to 4 sigma by rho, so it is 130 degree. So put all the value, you will be getting minus, for mercury minus 0.4 centimeter. So negative sign because it is indicating the capillary depression. So next one point, this next problem, it is your homework, solve it in your home and submit to my given email id. dheeraj.mondal@jscollege.ac.in. This is the highlight. You can see the specific weight is equal to W is equal to rho g. Specific volume is the reciprocal of mass density. Du by dy is the rate of change of rate of shear strain or velocity gradient. Tau is equal to mu into du by dy. Kinetic viscosity nu is equal to mu by rho. Okay, and surface tension, bulk modulus, surface tension, the formula is given. Okay, so today up to this, I hope it is clear. And next class we will be discussing about the fluid statics, some for the submerged body, what is the force exerted on a submerged body when it is horizontal, vertical, inclined, and lot of things will be discussed. So this is the end of the video, module 2, lecture number 2. Next class we will be discussing about the module 1, lecture number 2. Next class we will be discussing about the module 2, lecture number 3. Okay, so today up to this, thank you for listening. Jai Hind.